Welcome everyone as we prepare for the double Parashat this week of Tazria-Metzora. I'm reminded of when we lived in Arizona. I was involved in community outreach there. There was a local newspaper that every week would have a different person write an article about that week's Parashat. I assume it was a Reformed rabbi, wrote an article in which she said that the ancient Hebrews or Israelites, how they were afraid and they were superstitious of different types of rashes and molds, and therefore they made up this thing called tzoraos. I was very struck by this, the disparaging, dismissive tone that she used to speak about her own fourth parent. How she seemed to be disconnected and condescending to her forebears, how they were uncultured and inferior. And in fact, it's, as we say in yeshiva, it's fakert. It's exactly the opposite. How we will look at the words of Rav Shimshon Rafael Hirsh and see how really our forefathers were much greater than what we were. Rav Shimshon Rafael Hirsh points out in this week's parsha, Adam ki yeh be'or b'saroi, a person when there will be on their flesh, the skin of their flesh, shayes or sapachos or beheres, different types of afflictions. V'hayah be'or b'saroi lenega tzoraos, and it will be on his skin of his flesh a nega, a affliction tzoraos that's called tzoraos. Shimshon Rafael points out that it's called a nega tzoraos. What does the word nega mean? Nega means an affliction, but it also means to touch. And in this context, it means that it was touched by the finger of God Himself, and it's ba'or b'saro. It's on the flesh of His skin. So what's ba'or? It means skin, but it also means to be awakened, like laha'ir, to be awakened, but awakened from a slumber. So really, what's going on over here is that God is pointing out, and He's saying, He's touching the person that did one of the 7 interpersonal sins, primarily lashon hara, that speaking ill of another Jew, that brings that tzoraos. You are actually go ahead and touched by God Himself. Tzoraos only affects Jews; it doesn't affect non-Jews, because God is saying to the Jewish people, He's saying, you are not behaving properly. Repent, go to this person that you did ill to, you did wrong to, and ask for forgiveness. It's about a personal connection between God and the Jewish people. Speaking specifically to us at a time, but it has to be someone that God feels is worthy, that feels that He can connect to on a personal level. That's why we don't have tzoraos anymore. It disappeared from our nation because we just were not worthy to have it. The same way we do no longer have prophecy. And that's really the lesson of now of the days of Sphira, that we are correcting our interpersonal relationship with Parsha falls out during these days to remind us that we have to go ahead and correct ourselves to bring back again the time we will be worthy to have God's on our shoulder to tell us how much He loves us, how much He wants to be connected in our lives. Wish everyone a Shabbat Shalom and a good Shabbos.